For much of its history, rugby was considered a men's game. The image of bruising forwards and hard collisions seemed incompatible with the social expectations placed on women. But behind the stereotypes, women were playing rugby long before it was officially recognized. In parks, universities, and small clubs, they picked up the oval ball and built communities of their own. Their persistence created one of sport's most remarkable stories: the rise of women's rugby from the shadows to the spotlight. The early years were defined by struggle. In the mid-20th century, women's teams faced ridicule, bans, and lack of support. In some countries, governing bodies actively discouraged women from playing, seeing the game as too rough. But women persisted. By the 1970s and 1980s, informal competitions were growing across Europe, North America, and New Zealand. Passionate pioneers organized matches without funding, often playing in hand-me-down men's kits on poorly maintained fields. The turning point came in the 1990s. In 1991, the first Women's Rugby World Cup was held in Wales. It was run on a shoestring budget, with teams paying their own expenses, but it was a landmark moment. The United States shocked England in the final to become the first champions. 4 years later, the second World Cup was officially sanctioned by the International Rugby Board, now World Rugby, giving the women's game long overdue recognition. Since then, women's rugby has exploded in popularity. New Zealand's Black Ferns emerged as a powerhouse, winning multiple World Cups with a mix of flair and power. England's Red Roses became their greatest rivals, producing iconic matches that drew growing audiences. France, Canada, and the United States established themselves as contenders, while nations like Fiji, Japan, and South Africa developed competitive women's programs. Sevens rugby played a crucial role in accelerating growth. The inclusion of rugby sevens in the 2016 Olympic Games brought global visibility. The women's competition in Rio showcased dazzling talent, with Australia winning gold and inspiring a new generation. 4 years later in Tokyo, New Zealand's women claimed gold, cementing their status as icons. The Olympic platform demonstrated that women's rugby was not just viable, it was spectacular. The cultural impact has been profound. Women's rugby challenges gender stereotypes, proving that strength, resilience, and skill are not confined to one gender. It has created role models for young girls, who now dream of wearing national jerseys just as their brothers do. Players like Portia Woodman, Emily Scarrett, and Magali Harvey have become household names, inspiring fans across the globe. Economically, the game is catching up. Investment from unions, sponsors, and broadcasters has grown significantly. The 2022 Women's Rugby World Cup in New Zealand drew record crowds, with Eden Park selling out for the final between the Black Ferns and England. Television audiences reached millions, proving that the appetite for women's rugby is huge. Professional contracts, once unthinkable, are now a reality for many players, particularly in England and New Zealand. Yet challenges remain. Funding gaps, lack of infrastructure, and unequal pay still hinder progress. In many countries, women's teams struggle for resources compared to their male counterparts. Balancing careers, education, and sport remains a burden for many players. However, the momentum is undeniable. World Rugby has set ambitious goals to expand participation, and grassroots initiatives continue to thrive. Beyond the numbers, the spirit of women's rugby shines brightest. Matches are often defined by incredible skill, camaraderie, and sheer determination. The culture emphasizes inclusivity and community, welcoming players of all backgrounds and body types. In many ways, women's rugby represents the purest essence of the sport: teamwork, resilience, and joy. Behind the try-line, women's rugby tells a story of persistence and triumph. From playing in obscurity to filling stadiums, it has become one of rugby's most inspiring journeys. The rise of women's rugby is not just about equality. It is about the transformation of a sport into something more inclusive, diverse, and global.